What's up, guys? I'm going to go through a bunch of questions on my previous video about the Haas project. Got a lot of questions in the comments there, so I'm just going to go through those, answer them. Doing a clean complex today. I'm supposed to do a snatch complex today. 2 power snatches followed by 2 hang snatches or hang powers. Raining outside right now, so I got to lift inside, so I'm just going to change it to cleans. So I'm going to do 2 power cleans followed by 2 hang power cleans. I'm going to front squat. Probably going to put some accommodating resistance on the front squats, sumo RDLs, and then I think I got some upper body exercise. I got to check the Train Heroic app again before I figure out what that's going to be. Quick shout out to Barbell Apparel for sponsoring this channel. Got the joggers on today. Hit the link in the description below for Barbell Apparel clothing. We're going to 265 here. 2 powers followed by 2 hang powers. Man, it feels good to get back into the Olympic lifting. I like doing these complexes, getting back into things, gets your conditioning back, your grip back, gets your technique back, pulling from different positions, catching the bar in different positions. Complexes are great for kind of that like so-called GPP part, or the early part of the training block when you're just getting back into it. All right, 275 here. Still getting used to Olympic lifting in pounds. So 275, that's like was that like 125 kilos? I'd really like to hit 315 on this complex, but I don't think I have it in me today. I'm starting my cut now, so I'm in a caloric deficit. And I know it's early, but I can already feel it affecting my strength right now. All right, so Joey Ma is asking the difference between Haas Project 2.0 and Haas Olympic. So Haas Olympic, I think I've said this before, but Haas Olympic, the framing of it is, like the framing of the ebook and the program, I guess, is like the how and the why, the justification of why you should use Olympic lifts in an athletic development program and how I would implement Olympic lifts in an athletic development program. It's not an Olympic lifting program. Haas Project 2.0 is the emphasis is strength and hypertrophy. So the frequency of Olympic lifts for the Olympic lifting version of Haas Olympic never exceeds more than 2 times per week. So that's like the difference. And then the programming strategies are different because the goals of the program are different. So Haas Project 2.0 contains a lot more sets of like 0 to 1, 0 to 2 reps in reserve. There's a lot more like heavy, high intensity, grindy type strength training in there. As opposed to Haas Olympic. Would you be able to add dunk sessions to Haas Project 2.0, or would that be too much? You definitely could. So I was playing basketball while I was running Haas Project 2.0. My jumping ability though, like my explosive capacity, did drop when I was running Haas Project 2.0, just because the training sessions are so grueling, they are fatiguing. You're just not going to have as much gas in the tank to do all that other stuff. So I still played basketball. I played in some basketball tournaments, but it did affect my ability to like do like body weight explosive activities. So you definitely can, but just like understand that when you're trying to maximize vertical jumping ability and explosive ability, and you're also trying to maximize strength and hypertrophy, like the primary emphasis of Haas Project 2.0 is hypertrophy, probably even more so than strength, even though those two qualities do go hand in hand. There's gonna be some interference effect there. All right, let's move on to the next set. I got 285. If you don't have the ability to run the 6 times per week split, do you recommend altering the program at all, or just make your training frequency 6 times across the 8 or 9 day week? So I sort of touched on this in the ebook a little bit, and like the program split is in there for a reason. I planned out the split for a specific reason because I think that's the best way to run this type of program. But yeah, if you don't have the ability to run it as is, and you say, okay, so you say 6 times per week split, I'd call it a 4-day split with your cardio sessions kind of mixed in as you see fit. So But yeah, just adjust the split, just adjust the frequency. Yeah, just adjust the split as needed. If you want to go with like an 8 or 9 day quote week, and that's what works for you, yeah, dude, go ahead. You as the user can make that decision. Any suggestions on accommodating a Monday through Friday lifting schedule to keep weekends free, or just have the weekends be aerobic sprints, and plyos? Yeah, same answer. If you got to adjust the training split and the schedule just to fit your lifestyle, you got to do what you got to do. I don't know what your life circumstances are. I don't know what your life circumstances are, so I can't really answer that question for you. If you're only going to train Monday through Friday, honestly, I would probably just do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Cut that fourth day out completely. It's just the upper body day, and then do the sprints and the cardio on Tuesdays and Thursdays. That's what I'd recommend. What exercises do you replace in Haas 2.0 non-Olympic version with the Olympic exercises in Haas 2.0 Olympic version? If you buy it, you're gonna get both programs when you download the file. You get to choose the exercises. That's what's so cool about the Excel template that I provide, is that there's a drop-down list. So you choose what exercises you want to do. So if you want to do the Olympic lifts, you can do power cleans, hang power cleans, block power cleans, full cleans. You can do whatever you want. Same with the jumping. You can do seated jumps, single leg jumps, vertical jumps. There's so many different type of jumps you can do. So you get to choose the exercises. $295 here. I'll finish with that. Moving on to front squats now. So I'm doing these front squats with these thick green bands that I got from Stray Dog. And I'm doing with a pause. So I have not done much front squatting or squatting with bands in my life. I mean, I have, but I typically like using chains for accommodating resistance, more so than bands, but I want to use bands today. So this is really kind of screwing up my ability to gauge what a good working weight is. So I'm still doing these warm-up sets. I just did 185, and that was kind of hard. So I'm going to do a warm-up set of at 225. I'm just going to do a pause double. Well, all of my working sets are going to be sets of 2, but so we'll see how this goes. And then, yeah, I have no idea what I'm going to be doing for working weights. Maybe this is going to be my working weight. All right, here we go. 275 with these thick green bands, 5 to 6 doubles. Goal is to move the weight with confidence. I still want it to be challenging, but I don't really want any grindy reps. I've said this before. I'm just going to say it again because I know some people are going to ask at some point in the comments or whatever. The goal here isn't to move it fast because I want higher power output. The goal here is to move it fast because I want to put my energy and resources into some other physical qualities. Maximal strength right now and hypertrophy aren't the goals. So I'm just keeping my legs a little bit more fresh to do those other things while still getting a strength stimulus to maintain my strength for the time being. Another thought that I've had right now, because I've been seeing it on Instagram way more frequently recently, is I see takes, I guess on Instagram and on Twitter, regarding progressive overload that, it's a really common take that people will say, like, in order for a progressive overload to occur, you don't have to add load, you don't have to add reps. What you really should be doing if you're trying to get stronger and more powerful and more explosive is to increase bar speed. That's another more effective way for progressive overload to be implemented. However, I think that's wrong, generally speaking. Now, I'm just talking about strength training here. Obviously, if you're sprinting and you're doing jumps and you're doing plyos and you're moving faster, that is a form of progressive overload because that's just your body weight, and that's going to have an influence on the forces, the ground contact forces. But with strength training, if you're moving the weight faster than before, That's not a form of progressive overload. That's just a demonstration of a higher fitness level, because you're moving the same weight faster. Therefore, the internal load is less. It's less stressful. So it's not a form of progressive overload. It's just a demonstration of greater fitness. Anyways, I guess I don't have much to elaborate on with that. It's just regarding strength training, moving the weight faster is not progressive overload. It's just yeah, like I said, it's a demonstration of higher fitness level. All right, I added 10 pounds. I put 295 on there. But I wanted to add to the point I just made about moving the bar faster regarding progressive overload. I'm not even saying that you shouldn't maintain the same weight for weeks on end and try to move it faster, because you still could be getting progressive overload that's going to induce strength adaptations with other exercises. And I actually think it's a good strategy. I program people that way, where I say we're going to keep the same load and we're going to try to move this faster. I think it works really well when you're like trying to hit heavy singles for several weeks at a time, and you want to just like cap yourself at a certain single weight, certain weight for a single rep, and try to move it faster so that you can get greater confidence moving heavier loads at a slower speed. I think that's totally fine and appropriate. But yeah, it's just moving the weight faster is not a form of progressive overload. It's actually a form of regressive overload. So hey, let me get my iPad. Answer another question. Is there velocity meters per second targets available instead of intensity percentages? I didn't program velocity ranges in Haas Project 2.0. I did think about it. Ultimately, I decided not to, because I don't know if... my assumption is most people don't have access to an OVR or a Vitruve device or a Tendo unit, so I decided against it. So the way I prescribed intensity is with percentage ranges and guidelines, recommendations, and then I use reps in reserve. I also use RPE because some people are familiar and like using RPE. But I do talk about velocity-based training and like speed thresholds and when to cut off a set, and the association of certain speeds with reps in reserve in the ebook. So if you want to use it, I'm totally a proponent of using it. So is the Train Heroic version the same as the ebook version with Olympic lifts? I asked because the sample week on Train Heroic didn't have any Olympic lifts. This is a great question. So the Train Heroic version is slightly different than the ebook and the template version. The reason for that is because my original thought was to not use Olympic lifts at all, and then people who are subscribed to my Haas Concurrent training team, they said they want to use Olympic lifts. So I started programming Olympic lifts after the first couple of weeks in the Train Heroic version, so that's why it's a little bit different. But after the first couple of weeks, it's all the same. Has your semi-regular incorporation of skull crushers and French presses helped your elbow issues at all? Nope, because I have epicondylitis, so that's like, the things that affect epicondylitis is your grip. So like gripping and elbow flexion, so that's the kind of stuff that aggravates it. I don't think extension of the elbow, even under load, helps my elbow issues at all. I don't think it hurts it though either. So like bench press doesn't hurt it. Tricep extensions, French presses doesn't bother it. But no, it has just like no impact on my elbow issues. All right, let's get this next set. All right, I got to go to 315. Hey, Will, planning to purchase either Launch 2.0 or Haas 2.0, mostly concerned with vertical and playing volleyball. Without going into too much detail, what are the key general structure differences between Launch and Haas? Does Launch have all the prescribed intensities, etc.? Yeah, so Launch 2.0, the emphasis is speed and explosiveness. Way higher emphasis, way higher frequency, way higher intensities of the sprints and the plyos and that kind of stuff, like the athletic stuff, compared to Haas. Like I said, Haas 2.0 is focused on strength and hypertrophy. Regarding the lifting part of Launch 2.0, it's going to look more like what I'm doing now, staying further away from failure. You're still going to be lifting heavy, but it's more Olympic lifting, more squatting, further away from failure, less total amount of like hard, high intensity sets in the weight room. That's like the major difference. Is there a particular reason that you always front squat and back squat facing away from the rack? I get this question all the time. It's for the camera. Yeah, that's why. because I don't want to be like facing away from the camera when I'm lifting. It's just like aesthetically less appealing to do that. So people always tell me it's like less safe to do that. I don't really care. I got safety spotter arms. I'm an advanced enough lifter. I know how to bail. I'll be fine. If I run Haas 2.0 on a cut, am I cooked? You can do it on a cut. It's just gonna be really hard, man. All right, going on to a close grip pause bench press here. Doing this with accommodating resistance 2. Just like the front squats, I'm gonna do 5 to 6 working sets of doubles. Hey, before I forget, I just want to make an announcement about Haas Concurrent. So right now I'm kind of in this like transition period between, because I just finished Haas Project 2.0. That training, like I said, it's been really hard. This is sort of like a transition deload-ish type week, 2 weeks of training. Monday, I think it must be Monday the 26th, May 26th, we're starting a new block. The focus is going to be a lot more Olympic lifting, a lot more sprinting and plyos, a lot more like trying to get back into being athletic again, sprinting, plyos, Olympic lifting, being fast and explosive, plus conditioning. So starting that block Monday, May 26th. So if anyone is interested in joining the Haas Concurrent training team, that's the day to start if you want to get into like that kind of stuff. And you want to get away from like the heavy, grindy lifting that kind of beats you up a little bit, where you feel a little bit fresher more often than not. So yeah, I just want to make that announcement out there. All right, here's a question. If I only have access to a Rogue power bar, thoughts on doing Olympic lifts with a power bar and the potential pitfalls? Yeah, you can still Olympic lift without an Olympic lifting bar. The heavier the weight is on the bar, the more you're going to notice like the lack of rotation, the lack of whip, all that kind of stuff. But I mean, you can get it done. If you don't have much experience before with it, you're probably just fine. It could kind of fuck up your wrists a little bit if you're going heavy enough, but yeah, I don't know. You can do it. Hey, Will, I just purchased the program. Thank you, man. Was wondering how to program the float fly sprints. As far as the sets and reps, how do you switch the exercises within the Excel sheet or the primary exercise sheet in Stone? Okay, I'll go over the float fly sprints first. So float fly sprints, obviously, they're similar to tempo runs, but they're higher intensity tempo runs. The way I would program them as like kind of your default plan, then you adjust based on how you feel with it. Do probably three sets of down, back, down, back, down, back. So 6 reps, that's 18 total reps. So you're gonna run, let's just say you're on a football field, sprint for 20, coast for 20, sprint for 20, coast for 20, sprint for 20. That's 100 yards. Do that down back 6 times. Between reps, your rest should be about 35, 45 seconds, so similar to that tempo run rest period. And then between sets, I would take like 2 to 3 minutes. So again, similar to that tempo rest period. But it's going to be higher intensity than tempo runs because you're running faster, and you're kind of getting like you're running faster and you're doing like mini sets within the set. So. And then you asked how to switch exercises within the Excel sheet. So you have to go to the exercise selection sheet. You're going to see all of the exercises that are within the program that you can choose from. You can add your own exercises to that sheet. You find the criteria of like the exercise, not the exercise criteria, the exercise category, the exercise category. So pull would be a ground-based pull, deadlift, snatch grip deadlift, deficit deadlift, all that kind of stuff. So if there's another pull that you want to perform, you just add that to the list. Then you go to the sheet that says like block 1 exercise selection. You click on that same category, pull A, pull B, pull B1, pull B2. You click on the drop-down link, your exercise should come up in that drop-down list, and then you just click on the exercise. So I know it's probably hard to like follow along unless you're like on your computer following my instructions, but that's how I would do it. All right, finishing up with these sumo RDLs, I got 3 sets of 6 to 8 reps. Again, I'm just staying far away from failure, just high quality, move the weight well with confidence. Probably a little too light there, so I'm gonna go up and wait. That's all I got for the video, guys. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it.